Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Thursday, January 23rd, 2020. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. You'll notice right now that the ES remains within a very bullish trending structure. You notice this structure right here, very clear uptrending structure. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. What follows a higher high tends to be a higher low, and then we may bounce right back off and continue higher. So right now we may be at a cycle high within the current uptrending structure. We have formed a very narrow 4-day range right now, and even on a 5-day range it's registering as narrow right now. Obviously it's very early in this process here, as today is still trading within pre-market hours, and right now you see a very clear rejection that we saw in the previous session where price broke through 2-day highs and then dropped right back down, and that is indicative of seeing early signs of a pullback. Now if there is a drive through 33.30, that's going to be very important. If price can push through 33.30, that opens up at least a little bit more upside, but right now it looks like the market is kind of running out of steam here at these highs. A narrow range here after rejection, and that could lead to a pullback down below. Now if you look at the 15-minute time frame, there is a failed or a lower high that is developed within a very narrow range for the day. The range is 10 points from 33.12.5 to 33.22.5, and a breakout in either direction from that range could spark a very nice day trade for that for the day. So again, if we break down out of that range, it could trigger not only a day trade down, but maybe 1 to 3 days down into the lower edge of this channel, followed by maybe some rejection that could lead to another continuation higher. Again, this market continues to trend up until proven otherwise. Okay, let's take a look now at the NQ. Very similar price action in the NQ. However, the NQ continues to be a little bit more elongated in its profile than the ES. Seeing a bigger move here, a very clear rejection, and ending the day higher there, and then just kind of pushing up. No real down days here. We had kind of a doji day there. We did have a rejection in the previous session today. Currently prices above the after hours open there. So right now this market remains bullish. However, again, we may be at the top end of the channel here, maybe a cycle high, and while more upside may be ahead, perhaps we do need a little bit more of a pullback to get this thing going higher. Now if this thing pulls back as deep as this LVN, just call it 8900, 8920, 8925, that could still be a great buying opportunity. So even a pullback as deep as that, which may take a day to 2 to 3 days to accomplish, could be a buying opportunity. Now again, not saying that is going to be the case that we even get that low, but as deep as that could be a great buying opportunity. Additionally, here's the PIMA trigger zone. It continues to show uptrending price action here right in that space, and every time price gets into that zone, it's been a buy. We haven't gotten into that zone since this major rejection here. Perhaps a dip into that area will provide another rejection opportunity. So we may not get as low as here, as this has been serviceable over time, but again, we'll see how this thing plays out. Overall, everything continues to point higher, and all pullbacks are still buying opportunities. Alright, let's take a look at crude oil. Over here with crude oil, we've seen a major continuation lower. Big rejection here with a drop. We saw a major push lower throughout the session yesterday where it just could not find support. Stop run day eventually occurred here, and now we have broken down through a very narrow compression from the pre-market trade. We had pinching of the PivotBoss bands in the 233 tick chart, and we've broken that to the downside here through 55.60, and we're now about 20 ticks below there, and that suggests more downside at the moment. So again, after this major rejection, our idea was that we would likely see 3 to 4 sideways days followed by a continuation. I said if we bounce into as high as 60, that could be a selling opportunity. Of course, that happened during holiday trading, and this thing has continued lower for a shot at 54, which has been the target this entire time, between 54 and 55. So we're at 55.36 right now and dropping. This could certainly get there very soon. Again, at least looking for a test down into 55, but again, that's only 30 plus ticks away. So right now everything suggests more downside until proven otherwise. Have major support between 54 and 55, but below 54 opens up the zone, the last zone of support down there between 50 and 52. All right, let's gold futures. Here's gold. Again, we talked about this compression range here for gold. If you look at the last 5 days, it is compressed. If you look at this whole 10 days, right? If there's at least 5 of these here, that means it's compressed at least 10 days. That's significant as well. This market is clearly compressed. It was compressed last time here to the same magnitude. And then we saw this explosive move here that took this price from 1480 to 1613. That's an explosive move. This is the same type of energy being built up again. As we talked about before, it appeared like this was a rejection of a prior high over here, and bears are defending 1565 here. Perhaps even as high as 1570, right? 1575. So if there's a break through 1570, that could trigger a stop run that opens up quite a bit more strength ahead. If there's a failure to get above that zone and we start to break down, then easily we have some clear downside targets that could be ahead. So we got 1525, 1495, 1500 zone, and then you have 1440 down below. How far would it go? We'll see. But this is a very narrow compression range, and it typically suggests that we could break out in either direction, and it just as equally. And so we got to continue to watch for signs of a failure one way or another. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.